Welcome to Southern Orthopedic PrepZone Game Time, driven by Carl Cannon.
Hey guys, welcome in. It's DMV PrepZone Game Time. James Phillips here with Johnathan Bentley and Brian Hale. Guys, this week our game of the week is the Oakman Wildcats, and they're going to be hosting Susan Moore this week. So a huge game for Oakman. Probably some playoff implications definitely coming out of this game. What are y'all looking forward to with it?
I'm looking forward to another win.
Yeah.
Susan Moore, you really can't tell about them. They're 2-3. They beat Carbon Hill pretty bad. That was surprising for us, all of us that week.
Right.
But, I mean, they're coming to Oakman. Oakman had an off week. They're bouncing. They're coming off that Winfield win. They're in a good spot right now. Everybody's healthy. They should take care of business, I hope.
Well, and two of Susan Moore's losses are to Winfield and to Aniana. Both of those really good football programs. We saw Aniana beat Dora a couple weeks ago. So Susan Moore's still going to be dangerous. This isn't going to be a cakewalk at all.
No, it won't be. But I think a lot of what we're going to see will probably be very similar to the J.B. Pennington game. I think it's going to be a real slugfest. But I think Oakman at home gives them an decided advantage.
Yeah, I think Oakman at home, and then we heard Coach Hall also talk about how they got healthy during their off week, and so that really kind of helped them get ready and prepare for this game. That could be a matchup of who becomes number 2 in that region.
Yeah, that was a big win, Pennington. To win on the road, they hadn't had a game like that where they've actually won in years.
Right.
I mean, every game they had close last year and like the Winfield game this year, they really needed that. Hopefully they'll turn the page with that. Well,
several weeks ago we went to Oakman, and when they were game of the week previously against Holly Pond, I guess it was, and we had some technical difficulties and wasn't able to get the film that we had shot. And so this week we redid those interviews. You already saw in the paper some of the stories a few weeks ago, but right now I want to go and see an interview that I did with Mackenzie Miller. She's a female who's a 9th grader and playing on the Oakman team. And she talks about how she's just one of the guys. And so let's check out Mackenzie and what she's doing so far this season right now.
When she puts on her cleats, pads, and helmet, Mackenzie Miller looks like any other member of the Oakman Wildcats football team. Since she's been playing football for 7 years now, Miller said that is exactly what she hopes people see when she's on the field.
I started playing in the 3rd grade, and this would be my 7th year playing. I started playing because I always looked up to Tyler, which is my older brother. He got hurt the last time that he played. He played it was his 2nd year. He's always wanted to play, and he finally talked our mom into letting him play, and he got hurt, and I looked up to him.
Right.
And I have all brothers, so I figured, you know what, I might as well just use my toughness.
Miller, a freshman, wears number 72 for Oakman. She's played on the offensive and defensive lines throughout her years in the sport. That is no exception this season.
When I first started out playing football, I was nose guard on the right side. And then as we moved on, they changed me from guard to tackle on both sides of the ball. They tried me out as center one time in practice, but I didn't really like that. So they told me that I was like, well, you don't have to. So they kept me as guard and tackle.
In the trenches is where Miller says she likes to play, saying she loves contact.
I am one of the tackles on defense. I like that I get front line of everything, and I could just bust through there and knock some heads off. I'm not the type of person that likes talking about my feelings. Like, I keep everything to myself, but I use football as a way to kind of handle it, like all of my sadness and stuff like that. I turn it into anger and take it out on the field.
Oakman head coach Ryan Hall said Miller is an easy player to coach and is a tremendous teammate.
Like most 9th graders, especially that play on the front end, that strength is a big issue. So for her, the weight room has been a big deal. I think she's done a good job. I was looking at her numbers the other day. She actually has she's one of the few that we have every time out. Her run times have improved, her 40, her 10. All of her run stuff's improved, so she's definitely developing. The big thing for her is strength, and she's made progress there. But as far as technique and things like that, very coachable. She understands the position. She understands the role of playing offensive line is different, and you got to be selfless, and she understands that. So I think the future's good for her. we've played one JV game. She went out there and competed and was competitive in that game. So, we look forward to her development, and she's just like the rest of those young kids. They're learning, and they get thrown in on the scout team a lot of times and have to do some things that are not real fun, and she does it with no problem. But I'm excited about the future for her.
Miller said she appreciates Hall's coaching philosophy.
He's just so amazing. He talks about how not only football and stuff, he talks about, how to be better people in life. Like, they even do this whole thing on Mondays. It's called Manhood Monday. He's just trying to make sure that as we grow older and stuff, we don't make the wrong decisions. He tells us about Jesus and stuff. Him and Coach Painter do. We do Cat Journey every Wednesday, and they do scriptures and stuff, and they take us back to the cross and things like that, to make sure that we are better people in life and that we could help people around us be better people in life too.
Hall said coaching Miller has helped him to change his approach in various ways.
I mean, there's nothing that we really have to change in terms of football. What's really changed is the majority of my career I've spent using sports to try to help young men become better adult men, and that's always been my focus. And so I spent a lot of time trying to develop creative ways to use sports to teach lessons and try to help them grow and mature and be better husbands and fathers. Well, now, the message has to change a little bit. And we still teach that message. It's still a big part of the culture of our program. But I also want to serve all of our players and provide them with the deal with us is football is an avenue to try to help equip them to meet the demands of life. Her situation is going to be a little different than some of these young men. And so it's helped me grow as a coach. I've had to grow. I've had to be creative in some things that we teach and how we teach it in terms of that part of our program. But it's been good for me. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. It's been something that I think has made me better. And so, again, there's no real difference. She's so low maintenance and so easy to coach that a lot of that's, and she and I have had conversations on the front end. Yeah. We knew this was coming for a while. She knew she was going to play her. I knew she was going to play her. So here's kind of how we run the program, just to let you know. And she's totally good with that. She understands that. There's going to be some conversations that are directed right at young boys that are not handling things the right way. Right. She understands that. But also now I try to put in there some things that can help her mature and hopefully that will be with her as she goes down that path into adulthood. So
Miller saw playing time in Oakman's win over Curry earlier in the year. She also started in the JV game recently against Dora.
I played a little bit in the Curry game, and I play on JV too.
Okay.
We played against Dora, not last Monday, but the Monday before. On JV, I play both. Okay. They swap me and Gage in and out on defense, but when it's offense, they swap me and Pat Berry in and out. Okay. But I'm first line on both sides of the ball.
Miller said her teammates mean the world to her, and she is thankful for the support they give her.
They're all great. I love them all to death. I treat them like family. They have their jokes. We joke back and forth a lot.
But it's all good-hearted stuff. Huh?
It's all good. Yeah.
Welcome in, everybody. James Phillips here. It's a late night at the Desert Mountain Eagle studio. Brian Hale, how's it going, man?
And comes out with a 1-point double overtime win, 35-34. The Vikings remain undefeated.
One of the assistants told me I think they're 5 points away from being 4-1.
Corner just completely turned for Oakman. They came out in the second half. They scored 20 points on 5 plays.
Cordova makes the playoffs. Who would have thought in week 5 that we would have said the Cordova Blue Devils are going to reel off 4 straight wins and clinch a playoff berth?
Well, I just think the first half was really Hale got after. I mean, they were playing with a little bit more effort and toughness,
just glad to catch it. Good, it was a good throw. Won the game.
All right, welcome back. Guys, you saw Mackenzie Miller there. She's just, one of the guys on the team. They treat her like everybody else. And for a 9th grader, she's getting a little bit of playing time, and she enjoys hitting people.
Yeah, well, I mean, being in a line position, I think it's a lot better for a lot of times when you see females that are quarterbacks and they can take a running hit. Yeah, that's when it worries me a little bit. Linemen, it's not quite as bad. You don't
Right.
see that. Most of the time you see with those are usually, leg, ankle injuries, that sort of thing. So to me, it's a lot better equipped for her. She seems to be doing very good in it, and her improvement seems
Right.
to be going up. So there's a really good chance we could see her in the starting lineup in a couple of years.
Right. Well, and Jonathan, most of the time in our area, when we've seen a female player, I think they've been a kicker.
Yes.
And so
I've never seen anybody at the varsity level be anything other than a kicker.
Right.
We've had Toy Bowl girls that were incredible.
Right.
Of course, they didn't play high school ball. I commend her for that.
Oh yeah, and to be on the offensive and defensive line, she's right there in the trenches.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty tough.
Well, Mackenzie was not our Player of the Week this week, but let's segue into our Player of the Week segment. Brian, you got to see Austin Owens finally in person. We've talked about him for 4 years now. Mm-hmm. How impressed were you by Austin Owens of Winston County last week?
Well, I would say this much, JB. You can definitely coordinate with this. In the past 10 years, this past decade, we've seen great runners come through here. Guys like Christian Hubbard from Oakman, so many Christians, Tanner Talley, the multi-school Cody Staten. I think Austin Owens is right up in that Parthenon. Just an incredible runner. He's got so many different tools. He can fly down the field. He can also stiff arm, be very physical, but he's also got incredible moves too. Just complete all-around athlete, and I tell you what, he's going to be remembered for a very long time once he's over.
You saw him some last week shooting photos. He's the real deal for Winston County.
I like it. I have one picture. Wasn't that great? But he had stopped, and here go the Curry guys. He had just changed movement. I mean, he's just shifty.
Right.
He's always going to get – when he gets an open field, you can forget it.
Yeah.
He's going to be gone. I mean, he even had the one touchdown against Addison on a kickoff return.
Right.
So, I mean, he can go at any time.
He's their offense for sure.
And, yeah.
All right.
They go around him.
Brian, you were able to catch up with Austin earlier in the week in Double Springs. Let's go and see what he had to say about being our Player of the Week for this week.
He rushed for 10 carries, 192 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Scored on runs of 60 and 55 yards. On defense, had a spectacular game. He had a standout performance of 7 tackles. He forced a fumble and had 2 key interceptions. He leads all the rushers in the DME prep zone area with 787 yards, 9 touchdowns through 5 games, and is running for 157 yards per game. Ladies and gentlemen, our first Winston County Player of the Year, the Yellow Jackets, Austin Owens. Congratulations, Owens, on the very successful game. Just tell me for a moment, the guys in front of you, from your offensive line opening the holes to your fellow backs and slot guys closing out those corners and blocking it out, what do those guys mean to you and what they do every week for you?
They mean everything to me because football is a team sport, so everybody has to work together to get what you want to do across.
Well, Austin, I know in your career, up to, of course, your senior year here, you've had so many different people who've played a role, from coaches to mentors. Who are some of those people and what they've done for you?
I like to say all the coaches, because every coach I've had has always taught me what to do and how to do something. So, the mentors, I have like friends, family. They just help me. They make me feel good. They basically make me love playing football.
Last but not least, with this being your senior year, is there a particular game that stands out? One that either by key performances, what it meant to the program, anything. Is there a particular game that really stands out in your career that you really hold dear?
I think every game we get to go out there and play with my friends and help us get the win is just a game I like.
Now, of course, we know that you guys have a forfeit victory coming up this week, so a little extra preparation, but very good luck on the rest of the season. Hopefully we get to see you out there again real soon.
Yes, sir.
We'll be back.
Southern Orthopedic Prep Zone Game Time, driven by Carl Cannon. Presented by Kilgore Green Funeral Home, Nelson, Bryan and Cross, Bank of Walker County, Jasper Main Street, Southern Orthopedic, and Carl Cannon.
All right, we're back. Austin Owens there, our Player of the Week. Congratulations to him. Now we're going to move on to our Coach Speak segment. We were at practice earlier this week, and Jeffrey Winborn put a microphone on Coach Hall, and you never know what's going to happen sometimes when we put mics on people, but Coach Hall, he's always fun to talk to and fun to watch at practice. So let's go now and see what Coach Hall had to say to his players during practice this week.
One time when I was coaching at Walker Quadrica Ski, it was cold, like I'm talking about cold, like cold. Like second round playoff practice. It was mist and ice. He took this water and put ice in it, those bottles like they got, and he barely put the cap on it. Coach, you want some water? And I said, yeah, and turned it up, and the whole thing spilled on me. Get that ball out of the way. What? Attack the edge, good, get there. Come back.
Ready, go.
Turn it up, D, turn it, run. Now get up in there, good. Don't move.
Down. Ready, go.
Run, Willie, run. Never gonna get there. You're never gonna get there if you're up in the line like that. Step flat and run wide. Run it again, Willie. Run that same play again. Willie, you don't step vertical first. You step flat and run wide to the corner. You'll never get there. Easy, good. Get upfield, go score. Tag off. Good, 1 point, good. Hurry back. That's 1 point. Run. He's gonna beat him on the wheel. Throw the wheel. Oh, look at the wheel. I knew he was gonna beat him because he was backing up like this. His hips were still going forward. What you're watching for is that as soon as that safety takes a step down, throw it at the scoreboard with air under it. To Caden. Shoulder fake it, now throw it now. Good ball. Boom. Good. Oh, 3. Good. All right, here we go. Come on. You got to win this route. Get it out on time, baby. Get it out on time. Come on, bub. Somebody's getting after it down there. Open run. Oh, yeah. Oh, don't pick it.
The ball's got to be outside of it.
Yeah, miss outside. This is no good. Good. Oh.
All right, we're back. Man, this is an Oakman day today. We've talked about Mackenzie Miller. We've had Coach Hall. And now, Brian, you were able to sit down with the Odom brothers, AJ and Bubba. One is a linebacker, defensive end. The other one's a quarterback. And they're kind of opposite personalities, really.
Yeah, they play opposite sides of the field. And, AJ is very direct. He's very centered. He's very focused. Whereas Bubba's more laid back, fun-loving. And they have a lot of fun in their competition with each other. But, when they're on the field, though, they both turn it up to a different level.
Right.
It's business then. And I tell you, they're a lot of fun to talk to, but you can definitely see the competitive fire that they've got. That kind of spreads out among the team there.
Well, Jonathan, you've seen both of these guys kind of grow up, especially AJ the last couple of years. I mean, he's turned into just a force and one of the best players that we've got in the area.
Yeah, he's come a long way, and also the great basketball player. But, yeah, I mean, he stands out on the field. You look at him, you're like, whoa, this guy's huge,
Yeah.
And he backs it up.
Yeah.
He was coming into the year, he was our defensive player of the year preseason. Right. And he might be it after the year. He's had that good of a year. I mean, you can always count on him.
Well, it kind of helps when your dad played in the NFL. That's good genetics for sure.
Yeah. And they always say the younger Odom, the girl, is the best athlete.
Yeah,
that's for years.
Coach Hall and I was even talking about that yesterday. He said he'd love to sign her up for the football team, but he said she's probably the best basketball player in the county right now.
I think she's playing for Parish Boys.
Yeah, I think so.
Junior high boys.
Yeah, for head coach Bubba Cagle.
That's right, the mayor.
There you go. The mayor and the wrestler and head basketball coach.
Does a little bit of everything.
Yeah. We'll save him for a different show. All right, Brian, let's see now your conversation with the Odom brothers.
Over the past 2 seasons, brothers AJ and Bubba Odom have enjoyed competition as members of the Oakman Wildcats, both against opposing teams and against each other in practice. Now AJ, his 3rd year starting for the Wildcats in a hybrid defensive linebacker role, and Bubba, set to start his 6th game as the Oakman quarterback on Friday against Susan Moore, have found the bond experienced as brothers away from the field easily carries over to being teammates.
it's like we push each other, we compete, and it's just knowing he has my back, I have his back, and it's just a good feeling to me.
That's a very fun thing. I love being out on the field with him.
Lining up on opposite sides of the field often leads to the brothers in direct competition with each other during scrimmages, a situation that both embrace.
Yeah, I mess with him all the time about it. So like I go, like I don't hit him, I tag off on him and I was like, yeah, I got you, I just mess with him and stuff like that, and it gets him mad and we just go at each other all the time.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna have to get him for that one. Just make fun of him, poke at him a little bit.
Winning the close battle over J.B. Pennington, a first in 2 years of intense matchups that have gone against the Wildcats, was thrilling for both the Odom brothers and their teammates.
It was a good feeling because, like as you said, like in the past we didn't have that much of luck, and J.B. Pennington was a good team, so like it felt really good to finally get a good close victory.
Yeah, it was the best feeling ever, man, because the past 2 years we not really won any close games at all, and that was our first one, and I was really excited about it.
Oakman head coach Ryan Hall has been impressed with the work ethics of both Odom brothers and commends their actions as positive effects for the team.
Well, first of all, it's awesome to have those kids here. I mean, I'll say that up front. Is as good of football players as they are, they're just as good of people. And you know, the way I know that is my son. He thinks they're the most awesome thing in the world, and you know, they come to watch him play bad. They're just awesome kids. So first of all, it's awesome to have kids like that in your program that are great people. But as far as they're totally different. They're two different personalities. They're two different skill sets. You know, obviously, AJ is very ultra competitive, very serious, focused. He knows exactly what he wants to do. And Bubba's laid back and just kind of happy-go-lucky and fun to be around. You don't ever have a bad day. And so they're so unique in that regard. But then when you get them on the field, they're both highly competitive. They both want to win. They're both extremely coachable. I mean, obviously they have great knowledge of the game. Their background, their parents have done a great job of raising good kids, but also teaching them how to handle sports, how to handle the ups and downs of sports. So extremely blessed to have them and coach them. And they've been a big impact on me as a coach. I mean, they've impacted me certainly probably more than I've impacted them. Well, obviously they influence. I mean, they have huge influence. And they're one of a big group. There's a big group of kids that they're a part of that are really close. They've grown up playing together. And so they're all kind of that. But obviously AJ is the one that I think they look to. He's the leader. And he knows that. And Bubba's growing. Bubba's still 10. You know, we look at him, he looks like a senior, but he's a 10th grader. I mean, he's not even driving yet. And so he's still growing in that role. And I think AJ is too. AJ's grown up a lot this year, and I think he's starting to take on some of those things where, you know, he's always been a good leader by example. But just because you show up and do the right thing all the time doesn't get people to come with you. And so I think he's starting to figure that out, and he's become more vocal and more encouraging and more creative with how he tries to lead. So I've been really proud of him for that. And I think Bubba's right there behind him. He's coming on too. He'll be a leader for us at some point in the program.
Okay, we're back in now. It's everybody's favorite segment. People want to know who's going to win the games, and we're the ones to tell them, right?
We've done pretty well.
Yeah, most of the time we had a pretty good clip. Last week, me and you too, right? We're all 14-1.
Dora.
Yeah.
Dora got us.
It's the post-game clips that are always radically different.
Right, yeah, that's true. Yeah, we don't like talking about losses a lot of times. Okay, let's start it off. Let's just start with Jasper. Let's get them out of the way. Jasper, 1-4 at Minor, 3-2. You know, this is a game I think Jasper can hang in there a while, but Minor has really showed. They've played Clay Chalkville tight. They've played, I guess it was Pinson Valley really tight. And I think Minor will come away with a win. But hopefully Jasper can hang in there a little bit. I know they've made some changes. I've been at practice a couple times this week. I've seen a few changes at different spots that could be a little different look this Friday night.
I think everybody was surprised how close it was last week.
Right.
This team could really use a win right now. They won the opener, hadn't won since. The good thing was Morris Hill beat Coleman last week.
Yeah.
Which that's Jasper's one win, Morris Hill. But this is a game that's usually close. Maybe they can put some offense up on the board.
Right. A lot of times you don't know what Minor team's going to show up. They're kind of Jekyll and Hyde.
Right.
What do you think, Brian?
Well, I think if Jasper wins, they're going to have to win this on defense. And it would really behoove, though I don't know if Jasper will do it, to go to a more ball control offense. Slow things down, keep Minor's defense on the field and frustrate their offense. If Jasper can get a few turnovers, I think that style game, would be work.
Right.
But unfortunately, if they come out and try to run a shotgun type no huddle offense, I think it plays right into Minor's hands. Jasper would just have to win a turnover game.
Right. Well, I'm going to say they can't slow the offense down much more than they've slowed it. It's going to be a matter of can we get a first down more than changing style or anything like that. It's just if you're out there 3 and out,
it's not doing any good.
You can't do anything, and your defense gets completely drained, and that's what we've kind of seen the last several weeks. So all of us go with Minor. How about we go with Meek 0-5 at Marion County 1-4. All right, all in on Marion County. Okay,
Yes.
we don't need to say anything else. Cold Springs 3-2 at Addison 3-3. I'm sure we're probably all going to pick Addison. Jonathan, what do you think?
Yeah, their 3-3 is three pretty. I mean, Good Hope. They picked up Good Hope, Haleyville, and Aliceville.
Right. That's some good teams to be playing.
Good Hope is really good this year.
Yeah.
So
when Addison jumps back to playing 2A opponents again, I mean, their only loss was overtime to Aliceville.
Right.
Probably the best 2A in the state, most likely. I would say at that point, once you go from playing 4As to 2As again, it's a different ballgame.
Right. All right. How about Lincoln 1-5 at Corner 2-3? I went with Lincoln in this one. I just looked at their schedule. They've played some pretty tough teams and played them close. They beat a St. Clair County team by 2 to 3 touchdowns that Corner had to eke out a win over. So I went with Lincoln in this one.
I did too. Corner can easily win this game. Maybe Brian and I were talking about maybe Dora is where they turned the corner here.
Right.
Beating Dora last week. I'm sure Dora might be better than Lincoln, but I'm going Lincoln just until Corner wins one of these games this year.
Right. Well, and I think Dora, that's the game, like if Corner doesn't get up for any other game in the season, they get up for that Dora game. And so what are your thoughts, Brian?
Well, I think it's probably going to be close, but unless this is that point, like it's happened in the past 2 years where Corner uses that Dora game to kind of tilt their season. Unless that's happening for a third year in a row, I don't see it. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Lincoln also. Just until Corner can show me that they can win one of these games, like JB said, I don't see it.
Right. Well, next game, we're in Week 7. And you don't see a lot of Week 7 winless teams playing each other. But we've got winless 0-6 Oak Grove at winless 0-5 Curry. Somebody's got to win. Jonathan, who's it going to be?
I picked Oak Grove because I was at last year's game.
Right.
And it was the same situation. I think Oak Grove's only won one game in 3 years, and it was last year's Curry game.
Right.
So they get up for Curry. They looked great against Curry last year.
Yeah.
We're wondering how this team hadn't won a game, but it's at Oak Grove this year, and I'll stay with them until Curry wins a game.
Well, I'm going with Oak Grove as well. And looking at the games they've played a little bit tighter, but still hadn't come up with a win. But just like you said, looking back to last year, they really took care of Curry. Brian?
Yeah, and here's the other thing. I mean, we've said this before. We said it last week. It's a numbers problem for Curry. When you're playing a 2A and they have more players than you do, like what we saw against Winston County last week, that factors in on a lot of it. Plus, Curry's they're discombobulated right now. But they did look very good in the first half against Winston County last week. They were in I formation. That way, that nullified a lot of the snap problems that they have. When they went back to the shotgun is when they got absolutely dominated. They've got to do stuff like that to minimize a lot of the weaknesses that they have, and that's just strictly on the coaching staff.
Right. So you're going?
I am absolutely going Oak Grove on this.
There we go. All of us Oak Grove. All right. Next game. This was one that was hard for me to pick. I really wanted to go Sumter Christian because this is the first time they played in the United States this season because they've been on the road so much. But they're hosting Galesville. Galesville's 4-2. None of their wins really excite you when you look at it. But this is one of those areas where I think Summerton's got, a lot of times we say they got to show us something. I feel like this is one of those games. You're playing a team with a winning record. Show me something, and then I'm gonna pick you next time. But I'm going with Galesville.
Yeah, me too. They come that close. Cedar Bluff. Was it double overtime? Woodville.
Right.
They just need to. It's kind of like Oakman.
Yeah.
Win a close game.
Right.
And I mean, they really need this one for the playoffs.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, they can beat this team. They were out They were not at home. They didn't have a home game in September.
Right.
And so it's October. Now they get a bunch of home games during the year.
Yeah.
And this is the start of them. But I did take Galesville. It's going to be close.
Brian, what about you?
I think Sumner Christian is 1 year away from winning these games. But for right now, yeah, I'm going with Galesville. I think they just need just a little bit more. Let's hope that we're all wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll come back and secure this one. But I just feel they're 1 year away.
Okay, here's one we've got a little difference on. Winona 2-3 at Cordova 1-4. I think it's going to be a great football game. I was saying it's going to be similar to Cordova and John Carroll. I think Winona's a little bit worse than John Carroll, so I'm picking Cordova.
I went Winona. As we said before, you got to show me something first.
Well, that's true. I mean, I agree.
Now have played Ramsey and Pleasant Grove, which was, nobody could beat them.
Right.
But John Carroll game was really close. This is probably going to be close. Winona is a name team.
They are.
But here they are 2-3, and I think they got a forfeit or two.
Well, they got a great mascot. They're the Dragons.
Yes.
That's right.
I think that's cool for a high school.
Very much.
All right, who'd you go with?
I actually went with Cordova in this one. I think they're going to take it at home. I think Winona has great talent. I just think their execution doesn't need to where it's supposed to be. And Cordova, a couple turns here and there, they would have beaten John Carroll. So I'm going to go ahead and get Cordova on this one.
Well, I think Cordova got an off week at a good time, too.
Yeah.
That should definitely help them coming into this game. And hosting it, everybody should be excited in the pit. They'll have a bunch of fans. Winona's going to bring about 5 people, know. And I think that's going to be the difference is the excitement that they'll push into the players.
It's only their second home game. They're kind of like Sumner Christian. They've been away a lot.
But they haven't played in other states, really.
Right.
I mean, Sumner Christian really hadn't, but they've been on the edge of like 3 different states that surround us.
I had done the mileage last week. It was 700 something, and Dora had been 14.
Whew,
to corner.
Well, segueing straight into Dora with that comment, Jonathan. Dora 3-2 are traveling to Tarrant to play Fultondale. And this was a game that we thought might not even get played because Fultondale's been dealing with COVID issues.
Right.
So now we are playing Dora's on the road. Dora laid an egg last week against Corner. Didn't look great against Aniana a few weeks ago.
No.
But you got to think 0-5, Fultondale, Dora goes in, they take care of business.
Fultondale always has athletes. It's hard to believe they're 0-5. They forfeit last week. And Dora, boy, they need to get well. They just need a big win where they took control early and jumped on them. Maybe they can do that. I'm hoping they can do that this week.
Yeah, I think so too. What about you, Brian?
Well, they really have to, guys. This is actually a must win. I mean, forget for the psyche also. In the players' playoffs go, Dora can't lose this game.
Yeah.
This could effectively, and it's amazing that we've said this in a 2-game period where they have, were undefeated, but realistically, guys, if they lose this game against Fultondale, this could knock them off of the playoffs.
Right, that's true. Yeah. All right. How about JB Pennington 3-2 traveling to Carbon Hill, who's 2-3. I got JB Pennington all the way on this one.
Yeah, Pennington took Oakman to the absolute limit, and Oakman's probably a little bit better than Carbon Hill. I would be surprised. Carbon Hill could win. They're going to need some help.
Yeah.
Force some turnovers, get some big plays, things like that.
Right. All right.
We would have to see Carbon Hill play like we know they're capable of playing.
Right.
We haven't seen that this year except during the Curry game. So they would have to do that. I'm going with JB Pennington.
Okay. All right. Now, game of the week time. Oakman hosting Susan Moore. Before we talk about the game, I sat down with Coach Hall a couple days ago to get his thoughts on Susan Moore coming in. So let's see what Coach Hall had to say.
I think Susan Moore is a tough, very physical, grind it out. They're going to try to control the ball, control the clock. They're good at what they do. Then they got beat by Aniana, who is a really good quality 4A team. So, they're a good football team, well coached. Athletically, I think we're a little faster maybe than them. But physically up front, I think they can match or maybe a little better than us up front. I don't know. It's hard to tell on film. There are times that you go, man. But they definitely know what they want to do, and that's what they're going to try to do is come right at you and play a really physical type football game. So it's going to be a challenge.
And we're back. Game of the week time. Oakman hosting Susan Moore.
Bulldogs.
Yep. They are the Bulldogs. 10-0 last year. But they've took a couple of losses so far this year. Actually, was it 3?
Yeah, 2 and 3.
And I think this is a really good football team to be 2-3.
Like you said, the schedule's pretty tough.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Oakman really needs this. I mean, they already got the Pennington win. I'm hoping they have momentum from that and can win it. I think if they play like they're capable of, they should win this game. It might be close. I mean, Susan Moore's not bad.
Yeah, yeah.
They got rolling against Carbon Hill and thumped them pretty good.
They did. What do you think, Brian?
I think Oakman takes this very similar to Pennington. I think they win it close.
Right.
I think the Pennington win and them being at home gives them the edge that it takes this. And I think with this victory, unless Winfield really goofs up, I think this victory will propel them into the second place in the playoffs. So with all that on the line, I think Oakman takes this game.
Well, and I agree with you guys. I think Susan Moore is going to be a really good team coming in there. If this was just a typical week and a typical team, you could easily overlook just with their record and say, well, they're 2-3, we should beat those guys. But sitting in at practice, hearing what Coach Hall had to say, this team knows this Susan Moore team is going to give them everything that JB Pennington gave them and maybe some more. So it's going to be really close. But I do think playing at home, Oakman takes it. Oakman wins the game.
Yeah, these are big region games for Pennington, Carbon Hill, Oakman, Susan Moore.
Right, and Dora, and Summerton Christian. All those games are key
need them
for playoff if they're going to make a playoff run.
Maybe our local teams will go 4-0 in those.
We need that.
Yeah, we do.
That would be something.
And even Jasper, if they could pull off an upset, that puts them in the driver's seat to be able to be the number 4 team.
It puts them in a spot.
Yeah.
And that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, if they won out their region games, which they've played the tougher part, they still got to play Pinson Valley.
Right.
But
yeah. Anytime you get Clay Chalk out of the way, that's good.
Yeah, if you got Clay Chalk from Gardendale out, you've played the tougher part. Anything else this week?
Hey, there's a couple of teams out there that haven't had a player of the week. We'll be looking at y'all. Cordova, Jasper.
Yeah.
We haven't had any representatives from that, so I think it's time for them to show up. But that doesn't mean somebody with a team that's already have it won.
That's true.
You can still win it again.
Well, and even a player that's won it before.
That's right.
Yep. We'll give it to them too if they have a crazy game. Need to remind everybody to go to dmeprepzone.com as well, especially on Friday nights. Follow all the live scoring updates. We've got people at every game. And we're constantly throughout the night. If a score happens, it's updated on that website. So go to dmeprepzone.com. Beforehand, if you're traveling out to games, like if you're Dora and you're confused that you're not going to Fultondale anymore, but you're going to Tarrant, we've got directions to Tarrant's Field already at dmeprepzone.com. So go check that out. We'll have full coverage in the Saturday newspaper. And then hopefully Brian and I will get that Cordova game right. And I'll shake this guy from a tie on the limb.
No.
That's what I'm hoping for.
I mean, I wouldn't mind Cordova winning.
Right.
Also, Winston County has already won this week.
Oh, yeah. Winston County gets a forfeit win over, is it Tarrant?
Tarrant. I hate that because Owens might have had a big game against them.
Oh, he would have had a huge game, I'm sure. Yeah. All right. Well, until Saturday morning when you get to watch Brian and I talk about these games and the finishes, I'm James Phillips for our sports crew here. We'll see you on Saturday with the DME wrap-up show.